Namaste, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Blooming Lotus Healing Channel. My name is Jikara, and I'm a spiritual healing facilitator. And today I wanted to talk about the truth about spiritual healing. And there's a couple of things that little bit of a list that I gathered in regards to spiritual healing and the things that I've learned in my own healing journey. And also as I've been holding space for my clients within their spiritual awakening and spiritual healing and spiritual awakening, of course, because that's part of the spiritual awakening. And so before we get started, I just kind of wanted to take a moment just to let you know that at this moment I am offering the collective Akashic clearings for everyone to join. So the Cosmic Light Activation community is available for you to join starting now. So if you want to join, you can go into the bloominglotushealing.com /cosmic light activation. And um, one of the things that you get from for one of the benefits, right, that you get for joining is you get a monthly collective Akashic clearing. And if you don't know what an Akashic clearing is, I will leave on the description below a video that I recorded about Akashic clearings so that you understand what that is and the reason why these are important. And these are a little different from the one-on-one sessions that I do, but they do help us keep our energetic hygiene. It helps clear energies that we pick up from around, the connections that we make with other people. Sometimes we carry around other things, or we may pick up things that is not really for our highest good. So this is a really great way to do that. So I just kind of wanted to invite you to really sign up for this. This is a really great way to support this channel. And then also, for those of you who are already part of the Cosmic Light Activation community, I want to thank you for being part of this community, of this membership. It really means a lot to me that you are part of this, and I cannot express to you how much it means to me that you are supporting this channel in the way that you are. So just kind of wanted to put your names out here just to, celebrate you and thank you for being part of it. I want to take a moment to thank you. If you are, sharing the videos, if you're liking the videos on this channel, if you're subscribing, I want to thank you for supporting this channel. It really means a lot to me. There's so much love and intention that goes behind every single video that I put out there. So it really means a lot to me when you share, like, or comment on the video. So make sure that you comment down below if you have any questions, or if you want any additional videos made, please let me know. And then I want to invite you to subscribe if this is your first time here. And I want to ask you to share and like this video if you haven't done so. And if you feel that this brought you some sort of enlightenment or some sort of value, then definitely share this with someone that you love. So I want to take a moment just to, go back into the conversation of what this video is about, which is about the truth of spiritual healing. And so I comprise the list here that I have written down here. So you're going to see me looking down because I want to make sure that I say everything, and I don't want to forget. And sometimes I get so immersed in the talking that I then lose track. And I want to make sure that my videos are more concise. So number one truth about spiritual healing is that no one else can really heal you. Really, you are the one who's healing yourself. So when you're going over to seek support from a shaman or spiritual healing facilitator or Reiki practitioner, anyone that applies any sort of healing, you are really engaging with that archetype of the healer within yourself. And the practitioner is engaging with that same archetype. And because the practitioner has engaged with that archetype within themselves, and they themselves had the calling to hold space for others so that others could do so or could do the same, then they're connecting on that archetype a little bit on a expanded level, right, or an expanded place. But everyone can expand there if they if that's their calling or if that's something that they want to do. Typically someone who wants to be of service to humanity. So if you're not someone who is being called to be of service to humanity in that from that place, but you're kind of wondering, well, I'm going to go to a healer because they're the ones that are going to help me. Absolutely, there is some truth to that, but just know that you want to be very mindful in the sense that that practitioner is really just serving as a vessel, to create a container for you that is in safety so that you can actually step into that archetype of the healer within yourself. So just so you know, again, spiritual healing is not about going to someone to heal you, but really going to someone to activate that archetype for you, or to help you activate that archetype so that you feel safe enough to receive that healing that your soul is ready to download to you. Okay. The next thing, number two. So number two here, Spirit wanted to mention, spiritual healing requires being grounded, and staying embodied. And this is a really interesting thing because it's very easy for us. We talk so much about ascension, we talk so much about spirituality and spiritual things and all this etheric energy, this energetic aspect of spiritual healing, that we tend to forget that there is an embodiment of that healing that we also want to integrate into that process of expansion and that process of release. And so how do we embody, right? So as we receive the healing, and also we receive, that energetic release, how can we start making little changes, shifts in our own daily lives, daily routines, so that we can actually get those shifts going. And then you don't necessarily have to do this all at once. A lot of people think that, oh well, because I got this healing done, then everything's going to change 100%. Everything is perfect now, and that's not really how it works. Because the reality is that we are operating on this 3D reality, which is embodied and is a lot slower. It's a little more denser energy, right? And so we want to make sure that we recognize that even though the healing was done at the soul level and it's very quick, that the shift happens a little slower for us sometimes, because there could be also the mental body, right? So sometimes the mental aspect needs to be changed, and so there's going to be some effort on our part for us to shift our mentality, shift the way that we view the world, the perspectives. And of course, the spiritual healing typically will give you that mirror so that you can see the perspectives that need to be changed. But then you, on your daily life, get to invite yourself into that shift every single day until it becomes kind of just part of you, right? And so it's an ongoing process. And so the embodiment part of it is important. The other aspect of the grounding part is to recognize that we first need to ground into our bodies, to recognize what's happening within our bodies, to be connected with our bodies, so that we can really rise above all of these issues that are showing up in our lives. Because spiritual healing is going to address many aspects of our lives, right? It's not only the physical, maybe something along our health, but there could be also relationship issues, or there could also be issues in the energetics of how we connect to money, or the energetics of how we connect to our abundance, or the energetics of how we connect to our gifts or to our purpose. There's so many aspects, right, that typically we seek into whenever we are seeking spiritual healing. There are many aspects that we are kind of trying to touch base on in regards to healing. So with this said, it's important that you're very grounded in what's happening. You want to know, okay, well, let me really feel into the reality of what's happening right now, so that I can actually recognize what is the intention that I want to put forth with my spiritual healing. And so, when you are in that grounded, embodied state, then you can really know what is really needed, right? Beyond just the conflict that is happening. Sometimes you can get a little deeper into root causes, in that sense, or even if you don't get to the root cause, because a lot of times with spiritual healing, you get to the root cause, you get access to that. At least you are on the pathway to be able to receive that root cause, so much more with a so much more open heart, versus when you're kind of operating, separated yourself from being grounded in your reality, in your life, in your body. Then when the practitioner comes forth with the truth, it's going to be very hard, even triggering for you, to actually be able to process that. So we want to make sure that we're grounded, in that sense, and then also that we're practicing that embodiment part. So that's the kind of like, it's a two-parter, right, with the grounding. So number three is, it's so spiritual healing, it's a bed of roses. And so when we think about roses, we think about the beautiful color and the soft petals and the beautiful shape of the rose and the scent. And it's really gorgeous, right? And it's just, it's kind of hard to think about a rose and not smile or not feel kind of this beautiful energy of the rose, right? But there's also this other element of the rose that we tend to forget, which is the little prickling parts of the rose of the stem, right? And so we want to remember that it is a bed of roses that is going to include both the beauty of your essence, the beauty of what you're experiencing, which with spiritual healing you will experience that, you will experience that beauty. But there's also going to be the contrast, right? Where you're going to be experiencing more of the painful parts of you, more of the shadow parts of you, so that you can really receive yourself fully. In order for you to be able to really feel that healing, you want to make sure that you're kind of accepting both sides of the spectrum of yourself when this is being presented to you. So just remember that it doesn't have to be necessarily a scary thing. I know there's people out there that are scared of the prickling parts, right? Of the parts that feel a little painful, or that feel uncomfortable. But this is a very important aspect that we want to embrace and that we want to sit with, so that we can move into healing and recognize what part of us, right, needs some additional tender love and care. And so number four is, it requires, okay, a spiritual practice. So spiritual healing requires a spiritual practice. Kind of going back a little bit to what I was saying earlier on number two, but this is really specific about, choose a practice, right? It doesn't have to be, meditation. I love meditation. I love journaling. I love mantra. There's so many ways that we can practice our spiritual or our spiritual anchor, right? So like that's really what a practice is to have that anchor, so that you're able to kind of go back to that and be able to invite yourself back into your heart space. And so these anchors, these practices are there not to be repetitive and to be done just to do them. So if you're not feeling like you need to do it every day because it just feels repetitive, do it when it's meaningful to you. That's really what matters, is that you do it when it's meaningful to you. And so maybe it's not every morning at 5 a.m., but maybe it is anytime that you're feeling like you need some additional support because you're feeling, emotionally drained or emotionally overwhelmed. And then you kind of go back into breathing, or you go back into mantra, or you go back into meditation. It could be any of those, right? But it's important that you have that practice, and that you give that practice the space, and the practice that it needs. Okay. So number five, is that there is usually a purging period, and this is where a lot of people get a little bit overwhelmed, because they're before you feel better, you may have to feel a little bit bad. And so I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you ate something that had, some sort of virus or bacteria, sorry, that had some sort of bacteria, and it went to your belly, and your body already knows, okay, I have to figure out a way to remove this bacteria out of the body, because this is making the body sick, and it's not, it's kind of like going into that red flag mode, right? And so your body's going to immediately want you to maybe purge by going, maybe you have to go through the restroom. And I know that this is kind of like a very graphic thing. You may end up throwing up, or you may end up having soft stools. It can be a very ugly thing, and it's going to be uncomfortable and painful, and you may be sweating. You may be feeling like really uncomfortable. So just go back to that time when you got very, very sick. Your body had to go through that process of purging. So also when you get a cold, you have like all this mucus coming out. Like all of this is basically that part of the purge, right? And that is also something that can show up energetically for us. So just know that as part of your spiritual healing process, that you may experience a purge, and that's very normal. And so, if the purge is overwhelming, you always want to go back to the practitioner that you were working with, and so that you can receive some additional healing. But then just know that, just be prepared for that purge. And the purge doesn't have to look like this physical purge that I was mentioning. Sometimes it can be like that. You may get sick, but sometimes it could be a purge that is more in the form of crying, or it could be a purge more in the form of belching, or even in the form of yawning, right? So there's going to be so many ways you're going to purge and release. So just know that that's part of the journey of that process of release. And so embracing that and knowing that, okay, you know what, this is part of the process, and I welcome it. I thank spirit, because now all of this energetically is getting out of me, and I'm getting this physical feedback, right? And sometimes it could be emotional, so there could be an emotional feedback, right, as part of the purge. So pay attention to that, and just be very, very kind with yourself, and be extra kind with those around you, or maybe even let those around you know that you are getting spiritual healing, and then you might experience a little bit of emotional upheaval, so they know, and they can hold space for you. Your loved ones can hold space for you at home. So preparing yourself, right? Like, it doesn't always have to be this way. And the purge can also come in the form of dreams, which is probably one of the easiest, sometimes not so easy for some people, but it probably is one of the easiest way to purge. But that purge is going to happen in some shape or form, whether it is very subtle or maybe a little more intense. And one thing that I also wanted to mention too is that a lot of times, especially when you are dealing with intentions, for example, for clients that have done clearings with me that are based on intentions that are more physical, typically that's when they experience more kind of like that tiredness. Maybe they need to sleep a little bit more. Maybe they feel a little ill, or they have a headache. That's very common, especially when you're setting the intention to clear anything energetically or spiritually that is affecting you physically. So just know that that's if you're doing something physical, you might have a little bit more of that physical experience as well. Okay. And so number 6, this one is probably gonna piss a lot of people off, because it's not what you want to hear, but I have to say it. So number 6 is, this is a lifetime commitment. So once you enter the realm of spiritual awakening, and you start connecting to healing yourself, you realize that there's so many layers about you. There's so much complexity about you. There's so much beauty about you. And there's also entanglements, right? Equal amount of entanglements that are there, that sometimes you need to either revisit, or maybe go a little deeper in other areas. So as you're going through the cycles and the energetic shifts, you may go back and need to heal a little bit further, a little bit deeper. So just remember that. And so number 7 is the spiritual healing. It transcends the self. And so I'm gonna expand into this. What does it mean by transcending the self? What that means is that every time that you heal yourself, every time that you apply healing for yourself, that you do something that is healing your energy field where you're feeling better, that is going to expand out into those who are around you. And in turn, that is going to bring healing onto others. So it's this beautiful relationship between us and the collective that is happening there, where every time we are releasing what doesn't serve us and we're not holding on to the heaviness, to the dense energies, to all this stuff that doesn't serve us anymore, and we are opening our hearts and we're operating from freedom and joy, we are expanding that out around us to everyone. And so in turn, as you're healing yourself, you're also healing the world, you're also healing the collective. And I know it may sound a little cheesy, but that's what it is. And so your journey of spiritual healing is important. We need you. We need you to do this. So thank you so much for choosing this. Thank you so much for watching this video and learning about it, and practicing this in your life. Okay, so number eight is, it can feel lonely at times, and we may feel as if we need to separate ourselves from toxic environments, or maybe any sort of environments that are not supporting our spiritual healing. And so this could look like, maybe separating yourself from certain people, or maybe, reducing the amount of time that you spend with certain family members. It can look like, completely severing ties with certain people because there's just too much going on and there's no boundaries. There can be so many ways that this is showing up, and it can create this feeling of loneliness, because a lot of times when we're going through this spiritual awakening journey, and then we're seeking that spiritual healing, not everyone around us is doing the same thing. And so we are the beacon of light. And so just know that as you are, opening to your light by doing your healing, that you yourself are that beacon of light, and you are serving, just in that embodiment of what you're doing for yourself. You are serving those who are around you. Going back to what I was saying earlier, you're serving those who are around you. So that's why it can feel lonely at times, but just know that there is a divine purpose for you to do this. And then there's always the opportunity to seek communities, people who can support you, and in that journey of onward, of healing. So we went number 8, and then so now number 9. Number 9 is, it can test your patience. And spiritual healing is not for the faint of heart. Spiritual healing is, like I mentioned, an ongoing work that we get to do, and it can test your patience. You may feel as if you're never done, and how dare I, how dare spirit, and how dare this situation, and why am I not done yet, and why is this happening to me, and then you may go into that mode. And I want to invite you to pull yourself out of that, because that is taking you into a spiral of whys. And the reality is that when we practice patience and we see the divine purpose of these experiences, we can see that there is a process sometimes of waiting for us. There is a process of learning how to be receptive. And when we are in that process of learning how to be receptive, things may slow down a little bit more for us, and we may not see the movement, the movement forward, or onward. And it may feel as if everything we've done has been, a failure, but that's not true. Or maybe that we failed, or that something's wrong, or that we may have been, misled. It's always important to kind of go back into your heart space and go back to yourself and recognize, okay, what is it that I want to connect to at this moment? Okay, what is the my why, my purpose, the reason why I'm here? And if you don't know your why, then you can start asking those questions and start doing some automatic writing. What is my why? Why am I here? What is the purpose of me, moving into this X, Y, and Z situation, and moving out of that X, Y, and Z situation? And what did I learn from this X, Y, and Z situation? What is the silver lining? And you can ask spirit, you can ask, please show me what is the silver lining. Help me shift my consciousness onward, forward, so that I can see and recognize the lessons and the beauty of what you are trying to show me here. And so as you shift your consciousness, then you'll start getting those aha moments, like, oh my gosh, this happened because this. Oh my gosh, now I see this is connected to this, and but these aha moments are going to come to you, and a lot of them are revealed just to you, because they are at the soul level. They are your soul, and you are your soul. You're not disconnected from your soul. So you want to make sure that you practice patience with yourself, and that you connect to the truth of your soul, right? And connect to that and accept what's coming through as well. Sometimes the ego can get in the way, and we may not accept what is coming through. So trying to accept what's coming through, and going beyond what we want, and going into what is meant for us, what we're meant to be doing, like feeling into our heart space, right? Because the ego is going to try to keep you in suffering. And not necessarily that the ego is a bad thing, but it can keep you there if you're not aware um, of the let's say the script, right? So it's like connecting to the, say, okay, well, is this script coming from spirit, or is this script coming from my ego? Okay, is this script really serving me right now? Is it not serving me? Okay, let me put it aside for a minute, and let me just listen, and then just say to the ego, thank you for trying to protect me, but right now I don't need you, right? And I want to ask you to step aside. I want to connect to my higher self, and connect to the truth of my soul, and recognize what is it that is happening here for me. Number 10. So number 10 is, it rewards you. Okay, spiritual healing rewards you. Um but it rewards you when you surrender, when you allow yourself to surrender into the flow of what's happening. Kind of like going back to the previous one, this kind of like ties into that one. When you let go of the why, and you surrender to receive, the blessings and the insights from spirit, from your soul, then you're able to really shift and alchemize so much. And so surrendering is really letting go of control, letting go of wanting things to express in the specific way that you thought that they should be expressed, and allowing yourself to surrender to what is, and being grateful for what is, and allowing yourself to expand into that. And so when you expand into that, then you're able to say, oh wow, like I can see the abundance and the beauty in my life right now. And so if you're having trouble with that, or you're having a hard time with that, there's always, support that you can get. You can always go to through a therapist, or maybe through a therapy group, or any sort of support that feels safe to you. It's important to seek, so that way you can get that support in regards to shifting the perspectives there, so that you can learn how to surrender and let go of the negative ego. And number 11, which is the most important one. This is something that's been showing up this week for me, and I kind of wanted to share that, which is, spiritual healing requires shadow work. Shadow work, shadow work. Light workers are also shadow workers. And so you cannot, exist without, one cannot exist without the other. And so it's important that you really go in and into your shadows. And that ties back to what I was mentioning earlier about finding safe spaces for you to do the shadow work. Maybe you don't feel comfortable doing that because it can be scary, or it can feel unsafe for you because of traumas or any other experiences. So I want to invite you to maybe seek that support, so that you can dive into those shadows with support, and start shifting the way you think about yourself, and start, shining some compassion and love into those parts of you. So the more you do this, the more you'll be able to express that spiritual healing. You'll be able to see spiritual healing fully expressed in your life. This is not the path of rainbows and unicorns. It is a very complicated path. It can feel challenging many times. It can feel disheartening at times. But there is the element of reward when we feel the freedom at the end of the tunnel. Once you get to the end of the tunnel, you feel that release. And remember, this is ongoing. So this is not something that is going to, let's say, uh, end at a certain point. It basically ends when we pass on over the rainbow bridge, when we leave this planet. So, so I hope this video helped you bring some insight onto spiritual healing and the truth about it. And if you have any more things that you feel in your own journey, that you found some truths about spiritual healing that you would like to share, please feel free to share them in the comments. I'd love to read your comments. I love reading your comments. And so, yeah, let me know. I'd love to engage there with you. And so, I kind of wanted to also mention again that if you want to support this channel, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and also make sure that you like or share this video if you feel that it brought you value, and it helped you see a little bit more on the a broader perspective of spiritual healing. And I kind of wanted to also ask you to support this channel. This channel is all supported by those of you who are here, who are coming here every week. So it's fully supported by the community. And if you want to become part of the community that I'm building here online, please do go into my website, thebloominglotushealing.com/cosmic light activation, and sign up for the community. So the community it has some perks, such as monthly Akashic record clearings for the group, and weekly readings for the group as well, and which I share on our special portal. We also have a private Telegram channel and group chat, so that we can connect there as well. So feel free to join and become part of the community. I am also adding more perks for the community members. So please feel free to join so that you can receive more of those perks as they are rolling out. So thank you again for listening, for being part of this community. I love you so much. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and namaste.